Now, the African Security Congress and the Association of Private Security Owners of South Africa have called on the Electricity Minister to address security gaps at Eskom in the fight against rolling blackouts. They've also welcomed the reported recovery as a result of the execution of the generational operational recovery plan, but they remain concerned about the lack of care in the security of Eskom's electricity network. Let's expand on this discussion. We're joined by TAPSOSA spokesperson Sindiswa Changuion. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time and welcome. Eskom has not imposed rotational power cuts. That's more than 3 weeks now and doesn't expect to do so for the foreseeable future. What's your reaction to this?
As the Association of Private Security, as the Association of Private Security Owners of South Africa, I think one of the things that we actually need to acknowledge in terms of the strides that have been made by the minister in terms of making sure that there is generation in terms of capacity and the effort that has been made, we cannot be able to not acknowledge those strides that have been made. And we laud the minister and applaud the minister with regards to the effort that has been taken by the minister and his team in ensuring that there is sustainability with regards to making sure that there is generation that actually does take place. But at the same time, there are issues that we do have as an association, and those associations stems from the fact that when that energy plan has been announced, there isn't any measures that have been taken with regards to addressing the infrastructure and the security problems that is existing in Eskom, and therefore, in that case, we are worried that that part has not been taken care of.
As you speak about those security concerns, perhaps expand a little bit on where the loopholes are, because Eskom is placing a lot of focus on recovering generating capacity, but of course the concerns over the neglect of essential security infrastructure is something that you are putting under the spotlight.
You know, Paul, there has been, I think some time ago, you would remember that there was an expose that actually took place in which we actually raised concern with regards to a contract that was actually awarded some time ago by Eskom to a security company. And in that regard, we had indicated that there was a number of security service providers that were actually there rendering those services. Now, since the suspension of the security director, or the person that was responsible for the security directorate, there has been a deliberate ploy from Eskom and some cabal in Eskom in terms of targeting a number of security companies that are there that are providing services, particularly black-owned companies that are rendering services. And therefore, that has actually led to the exposure of the infrastructure that is actually being guarded at Eskom, and their contracts have been ended. And people, the deployment in terms of that critical infrastructure has also been affected by the deliberate ploy that has been underpinned by what is actually happening at Eskom. Therefore, it actually exposes Eskom to a whole lot of vandalism and theft that is actually taking place. I mean, if you look at even the statistics in terms of the theft incidents that have actually taken place and been reported over the years in 2018 until up to now, there has been over 45,000 electrical infrastructure theft incidents that have happened at Eskom. And we feel that, you know, if there is this deliberate ploy in terms of what the issues, the underlying issues that are happening at Eskom, and they are not addressed, and issues are just looked at face value, therefore there would be exposure in terms of the safeguarding of critical infrastructure, and therefore also the loss of jobs of the people that are there that are actually made to actually safeguard those properties of Eskom.
Yeah, you raise a very valid point, because we know that as you speak about theft, we are looking at over 200 transformers which were allegedly stolen, worth an estimated 19 million rand, which is a significant chunk out of Eskom's purse. Should these concerns not be addressed, how do you think it could affect the country going into the colder winter months, insofar as keeping an eye on what load shedding will mean as we get into winter?
We have been at pains in terms of being able to actually engage Eskom to actually indicate that, look, if they're not looking inwards in terms of being able to actually resolve these particular issues that are actually happening internally at Eskom, it's going to sabotage all the effort that has been made in making sure that there is sustainability in terms of energy generation. And we had indicated to Eskom that we are available in terms of being able to actually even offer information to Eskom in terms of what is actually happening, because that whatever that is happening is having a direct impact in terms of sustainability itself, in terms of being able to ensure that Eskom is able to actually render the much needed service that it actually needs to do. And in that regard, we have been met with another nonchalant attitude by those that are actually responsible for the security aspect of Eskom. And secondly, what has happened is that they have now even gone to a further mechanism of being able to even accuse those particular companies that we've just indicated that they have been victimized by some cabal within Eskom, to even indicate that they are undergoing some type of corruption and some cooked up corruption accusations that have been leveled against them. We have been asking for reports to indicate that as the association, if Eskom is serious about rooting out corruption, therefore they need to give us also information indicating which companies that they are actually alluding to that are involved in that particular corruption, so that we work hand in glove, so that we are able to ensure that whatever mechanisms or whatever mechanisms that Eskom is actually deploying, ensuring generation sustainability, it goes hand in hand with the critical infrastructure protection that needs to be employed. But right now, it seems as if we are talking past each other.
Yeah.
And in talking past each other, it leaves the utility to be very vulnerable in terms of theft, in terms of vandalism, and it's still happening. Eskom has already lost over 19 million rands in terms of transformers that were actually stolen in the past year, and nobody's actually talking about that. Now the minister is talking about measures that they actually need to actually put in place, ensuring that there is generation capacity, in ensuring that there is sustainability, but at the same time there's no talks about making sure that security becomes a part and part of the process for us ensuring that there is that particular sustainability that actually takes place.
Yeah. What are some of the immediate measures that you would like to see in place with the security concern? Because as we speak, it remains unaddressed.
The issue, I think there should not be a tit for tat type of a process or whatever that is actually happening with regards to Eskom. When we as security owners expose certain corruptions and issues that are happening from Eskom, I think they need to be able to actually take those issues seriously. That is the first thing. But the second thing is just to ensure that there should not be a deliberate target on companies. You can't be deliberately targeting companies that are actually providing safety and security to your critical infrastructure, and at the same time we are talking about improvement in terms of your power grid. You cannot be able to actually, that has to be able to be addressed, and it has to go hand in hand. You cannot be able to divorce one against the other.
Very well. Thank you so much for raising and reacting to this with us there. TAPSOSA spokesperson Sindiswa Changuion there speaking to us about some of those concerns. Thank you for your time.